Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Nandana Vajajana Ranjana Yasadanandana Vajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Dharachari Jamuna Tira Dharachari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada Jai Om Vishwāra Vamangsa Parivrāja Tarasi Srimad Bhagavatam Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai Devotee Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Basari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Radha Madhava Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Yadi Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vindham Shri Mathura Ki Jai Navadvipa Mayapur Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Gangamahi Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Sangha Veda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Yugadamanam Sankirtan Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. Glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 3, entitled Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender, text 32 and 33. What is on the board? 32. We're reading text 32. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sonta Sarasi Urupalena Ghrita Arto Dvistva Karutmati Haring Kha Upata Chakram Ukshipya Shambhuja Karam Jiram Aha Krichram Nārāyaṇa Kilo Nārāyaṇa Kila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. Sonta Dristar Sarasyurupalena Grihitar Arto Drisvagarutmati Harim Ka Upata Chakram Utkshipya Shambhujakaram Jiram Aha Krichran Nārāyaṇa Kila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Dhonta Sarasyurupalena Grihita Arto Jitva Garutmati Harim Ka Upatya Shambhujakaram Jiram Aha Krichran Nārāyaṇa Kila Guru Bhagavan Namaste Sonta Sarasya Urupalena Grihita Arto Dritva Gurutmati Harim Ka Upate Chakram Ukshipya Shambhujakaram Jiram Aha Krichran Anantasarya Urupalena Grihita Arto Visvagarutmati Harim Ka Upata Chakram Utshipya Shambhujakaram Jiram Aha Chitram Nārāyaṇa Kilo Gurava Bhagavan Namaste He, Gajendra, in the water, Uru Balena, with great force. Garuḍa, Him, the Lord, came in the sky, evātma-kṛtaṁ, wielding his disc, ukshipya, right, raising, sa-ambujakaram, his trunk, along with the lotus flower, Dhama, uttered the words, Krishparat, with great difficulty, because of his precarious position. Nārāyaṇa, O my Lord Nārāyaṇa, Akhila Guru, O universal Lord, Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Namaste. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Translation. Gajendra had been forcibly captured by the crocodile in the water and was feeling acute pain. But when he saw that Nārāyaṇa, wielding his disc, was coming in the sky on the back of Garuḍa, he immediately took a lotus flower in his trunk, and with great difficulty, due to his painful condition, he uttered the following words: O my Lord Nārāyaṇa, Master of the universe, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Please repeat. Gajendra had been forcibly captured by the crocodile in the water and was feeling acute pain. But when he saw that Nārāyaṇa, wielding his disc, was coming in the sky on the back of Garuḍa, he immediately took a lotus flower in his trunk, and with great difficulty, due to his painful condition, he uttered the following words: O my Lord Nārāyaṇa, Master of the universe, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The king of the elephants was so very eager to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead that when he saw the Lord coming in the sky with great pain and with a feeble voice, he offered respects to the Lord. A devotee does not consider a dangerous position to be dangerous, for in such a dangerous position he can fervently pray to the Lord in great ecstasy. Thus, a devotee regards danger as a good opportunity. Tate nukampāṁ susamīkṣamāṇaḥ. When a devotee is in great danger, he sees that danger to be the great mercy of the Lord, because it is an opportunity to think of the Lord very sincerely and with undiverted attention. Tate nukampāṁ susamīkṣamāṇo bhuñjāna evātma-kṛtaṁ vipākam. Bhagavatam 10:14-8. He does not accuse the Supreme Personality of Godhead for having let his devotee fall into such a dangerous condition. Rather, he considers that dangerous condition to be due to his past misdeeds and takes it as an opportunity to pray to the Lord and offered thanks for having been given such an opportunity. When a devotee lives in this way, his salvation, his going back to Godhead, back to home, is guaranteed. We can see this to be true from the example of Gajendra, who anxiously prayed to the Lord and thus received an immediate chance to return home, back to Godhead. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nevishesha Shandavari Paschatatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. These two slokas end the third chapter, Gajendra's prayers of surrender. We'll just read text 32 and 33. Gajendra had been forcibly captured by the crocodile in the water and was feeling acute pain. But when he saw that Nārāyaṇa, wielding his disc, was coming in the sky on the back of Garuḍa, he immediately took a lotus flower in his trunk, and with great difficulty, due to his painful condition, uttered the following words: O my Lord Nārāyaṇa, Master of the universe, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Chakra is spinning. Is that right, engineers? Thank you. Text 83. Thereafter, seeing Gajendra in such an aggrieved position, the unborn Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, immediately got down from the back of Garuḍa by his causeless mercy and pulled the king of elephants along with the crocodile out of the water. Then, in the presence of all the demigods who were looking on, the Lord severed the crocodile's mouth from his body with his disc. In this way, he saved Gajendra, the king of the elephants. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th chapter, 3rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender. So this section is very famous in Bhagavatam. What knowledge did he? He was an elephant. So it gives him as one of the examples. He was an animal. But by the Lord's mercy, the situation that he was in, he was fighting with the croc for a long time, a year. They were pulling each other this way, backwards and forwards, but the croc actually got the better of him. And so finally Gajendra realizes, this is it, it's finished. I can't resolve this. I can't resolve this situation. And so in that intense grief and fear, he had no other alternative. What could he do? This is the situation when one experiences imminent danger, and we feel very fearful, right? What to do? We're very absorbed in Maya at that time. We're completely absorbed in this particular aspect of Maya, whether I'm going to be ruined, I'm going to be finished, and my life or my wealth or my reputation will be finished. Then we feel very, very insecure. Right? Fear. Fear comes from insecure because we place a lot of faith in our body and our ability and our situation in the material world. We have so much faith in that. So sometimes that is, quite often it is shaken, and sometimes very severely if you have a very intense situation. Then it really brings you to your senses, and you become very sober at that particular time. So especially if it's a matter of life and death, because after all the body is the most dear to everyone. who's in the material world. So he had. So then you've got to think. Now what? When you're in danger and you actually can't do anything, you've explored all the possible avenues in your mind, and it's critical. It's there. It's here and now. What are you going to do? And when you've run out of resources, then what do? You're stuck, you see. So then a very fearful situation. But the devotees of the Lord, there's an alternative. They can surrender to the Lord, the unborn Lord. So Krishna says, these 4 kinds of pious people, they surrender unto me. The other impious people, they can't do that. They don't have that option. They're impious. So one should be pious. Over above that, then one should be a devotee, of course. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, a little endeavor in this. I can't paraphrase. A little endeavor in this devotional line, this service, can save one from the greatest type of fear. So here is historical evidence. A little endeavor from Gajendra, the elephant, saved him from the greatest type of fear, because he was helpless, and because he was who he was. I mean, previously he wasn't. He was a devotee. Actually, he was a king, and that will be explained in the coming chapters. He was a king. He was, and he was cursed, and he didn't do anything wrong. Actually, the sage, just like Parikshit Maharaj, he didn't do anything wrong, but he was cursed. Right? So the same situation. He was a king. He was a very pious devotee. He left. He'd taken Vanapras. He was in the forest doing his ashram, doing meditation. The sage came, and he was ignored, felt insulted because he wasn't received properly. Cursed him, "You're dull. You become an elephant." So that was it. Next birth he became an elephant. So I don't know how this fits in with karma. Of course, the mentality is, for the devotees, the mentality is explained here, that we accept all these reverses in life, all this suffering, simply as a result of our impious activities. We have to go through that, and with knowledge, then you can. This is the good thing about knowledge, and you're not bewildered in these conditions. You know what's happening. I'm suffering the reactions of my previous sinful activities. So this is a great samskar that I'll not do it in the future. I'll not commit sinful activities in the future. That is the purpose of this, with the reverses in life. In this, when the sages curse people, it generally ends up a blessing. So I don't know exactly. I've never heard. I mean, I've asked, but I never. Because everything in the material world is karma, they say. But how this fits into karma when the sage curses, whether it's a desire of the Lord, or because he wasn't meant to get that kind of result for the activity he performed. We don't know what he did in his previous birth, but anyway, it was a benediction. In the next birth, he went back to Godhead. So it was a great benediction, actually. Only one birth, one more lifetime, he went back to Godhead. Who wouldn't jump at such a opportunity? And the birth wasn't so bad. An elephant, not so bad being an elephant. They don't have many enemies. Crocs and lions and other big elephants. But they don't have many enemies. They stroll about quite leisurely. So it wasn't a bad birth. But he, of course, his mode of ignorance, he couldn't remember the Lord. But because of his previous endeavor to serve the Lord, his endeavor he practiced, it was Vanapras, he was practicing austerities, he was endeavoring, he was making that endeavor to know the Lord, to understand the Lord. Therefore the Lord reciprocated him and gave him remembrance. From me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. So usually when we take an animal less than a human, you don't get remembrance of the Lord. But he made an exception in this case. The Lord made an exception, so that's the Lord's mercy. So it's worthwhile being pious, being a devotee. There's no loss or diminution. There's always a great benefit. It can save you from the greatest danger. So he got this. So this is an exhibition, historical exhibition of how the Lord's mercy came to, how he came. The Lord actually saved him because he was praying. He was helpless, you see. So that helpless condition is a good situation to be in sometimes. At least to get realization, and you realize you are actually dependent on the Lord. When all else fails, then you feel insignificant. So it's a wake up. It's a great call to someone to take the spiritual life seriously, and even in spiritual life, in even advanced devotion, this is also a great component of bhakti. This feeling of helplessness. It's in the highest stages of devotion, prema, in love. Then this feeling, this helpless feeling, also comes in, because it put that in that feeling of helplessness. Then that's actual, humility. You are actual humble at that time, because you're feeling helpless. There's nothing you can do about it. You feel you're at the mercy of the Lord, that you don't have any other ability. So that's a very desirable position to be in, to evoke the Lord's mercy. In the earlier stage and in the advanced stage, it's a desired position to actually increases the feeling of separation, which, when the Lord appears, because the Lord is bound by the love of his devotee. If someone actually depends on the Lord, then the Lord is bound to that devotee. So he will definitely come. If one surrenders to the Lord and has no other shelter, then the Lord will definitely come. So that was that is and then when the Lord comes after that intense, situation of fearful situation, then it's great ecstasy. So this is how it goes in the advanced stages of bhakti. This separation and union nourish each other. But in the beginning stage also it's good. In the middle stage it's good. In the end stage it's also desirable. These reverses in life. So the devotees, the advanced devotees, they see that it's not. They see this dangerous situation as not being dangerous, but another opportunity to surrender to Krishna. Krishna's given me a wake-up call. I'd forgotten him. I wasn't surrendering. Now I'm in this predicament. I didn't surrender last life, and now I've got to face. So devotees ask Prabhupada, what do you do if if you're when you're about to die? Prabhupada said, you chant Hare Krishna, of course. He said, but what do you, at that particular moment, say the airplane is flying over and it drops a bomb and it's coming right where you are. What do you do? Prabhupada said, you say, oh, here comes Krishna. Krishna's coming to take me away. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare. Boom. Back to Godhead. Quick exit, easy exit. So that's the position of the devotee, serious devotee. If you can see the Lord's hand in everything. Queen Kunti also prays for benedictions like that. Because when there's danger, of course, they're pure devotees, the Pandavas, Kunti. So when there was danger, then the Krishna will always come. You've got to be a pure devotee for that to happen. But that was that was a manifest leader in Vrindavan. But Queen Kunti says, actually Krishna's easily obtainable. He's easily obtainable. You believe that? Yeah? We're all struggling, right? Krishna. We're struggling to understand how Krishna is in his name. That name is Krishna. I can't feel him. I can't see him. And the deity is Krishna, but he doesn't move. He doesn't smile. He doesn't acknowledge. So she said, yes, Krishna is easy to know, but only for those who are. Can you go to who are without? What's the translation? Yeah, materially exhausted. It means you've tried all the paths you've tried so hard, it means, to be happy in this life. You've tried so hard for, to create a nice, secure future. And you've tried so hard to enjoy life, but you just can't make it. It's just always something there, always something. So then you get exhausted. Unfortunately, we only live 100 years. Or fortunately, but... so, if we lived a long time, we would come to that conclusion quicker. But at the time of death, you get a very quick realizations and purification, because that time you are actually helpless and materially exhausted. You have no other avenues, like Gajendra. No one can help me. My wives can't help me, and even my wives, they couldn't help me. So there's no recourse. So then, because of that, his previous piety, his previous devotion, then the Lord appeared in his mind. He gave him remembrance of those prayers. And they were general prayers. I mean, he's worshipping. He didn't have a specific Istadeva. He was worshipping here. He was worshipping, he said the Lord as a person, or he's worshipping him as the super soul. He was worshipping him as the impersonal Brahman. All the different aspects he was worshipping. And he said that is why the demigods didn't come earlier, because he wasn't praying to the demigods. Krishna gave him enough sense to depend on the Lord. And the demigods weren't coming, but when the Lord came, they was a bit embarrassed, because he was praying and they hadn't helped. So then they all come, but Gajendra ignored the elephants. Nārāyaṇa, he ignored the demigods completely, although they were coming with him. And he came and saved the Gajendra after offering all those prayers. And he was a new bhakta, right? Gajendra. He was only a devotee for about 10-15 minutes. How long does it take to chant? How about 30 slokas, 30 prayers like that? 15 minutes? Right? So he was only brand new, but the Lord immediately appeared to save him. So we see how wonderful the Lord is. In the last week, His Holiness we're giving classes on the Ganga. Radha Govinda Maharaj, sorry, excuse me. He mentioned this story. He mentioned this example of Gajendra also. But he was saying looking at the Lord in different ways, and he has a lot of love for the Lord, how kind he is. And he was looking at that from the point of view of how merciful the Lord is. He's Bhakta Vatsala. He's very merciful to his devotees. And he says when the Lord came on Garuḍa, and when he actually saw Gajendra suffering like that and offering those prayers, he says he got down from Garuḍa because Garuḍa wasn't going fast enough, and the Lord he rushed to grab him, pulled him out of the water, and cut the head off the. So he was seeing it from that, and then Maharaj just started to cry at that time because of the thinking of the intense love that that the Lord has for his devotees. How kind he is to devotees. He was so anxious to save him from his distressful condition. So he's saying from the Lord's point of view, that's how the great devotees often do. They see from the Lord's, but how, from his position. We see everything from our position because, we want to be saved and we want something. But when one is satisfied in himself, that means one is very advanced, past nishta, then that's not such an issue. Yourself is not such an issue anymore because you have your shelter, right? You have your realization and you have your happiness because you're in touch with yourself or the Lord's spiritual energy. So then they become more broad-minded and just think how wonderful the Lord is. He's always Atmarama. But still, look, he's great. He's endeavoring. The Gajendra was had endeavored in his previous life. And now the Lord is endeavoring to rescue him. He made a great effort to come and rescue him. So he was appreciating the love of the Lord for his devotees. And he picked him up, put him on Garuḍa, and went back to Godhead. He just ignored all the demigods. But he let them watch, but he actually left them all behind, and took this great personality back. So when one is according to the situation that you're in, according to the intensity or there's imminent danger of death or something like that. So according to the intensity of the situation, to that degree you can actually surrender more or less to Krishna. The more intense it is, the more fearful it is, or the more closer the danger is, then you can, to that degree you can surrender more or less to Krishna. But you come to that position when you're completely helpless. When you actually surrender to the Lord in complete helplessness, then the Lord is obliged to come. Even there may not be love there, but complete helplessness, and the Lord is obliged. He's your Father, and you're feeling helpless, and you're calling Him. He must come. So even if there's not love, even if there's a great need that the Lord is the Savior, He wasn't these prayers are not generally the prayers of pure unalloyed devotion, because He's asking, please rescue me, please save me. The prayers He's asking for His liberation. He's not asking for material enjoyment. That is finished with, that is understood. I think he says later that what's the use of this elephant's body? Liberation. He was asking to be saved. So akamas, savakama, mokshakama there. Whether you want liberation, you want happiness, you want whatever you want, then you pray to Vishnu. That's a recommendation. That is a great benediction. So we worship the Lord in any stage of our devotion, and the Lord reciprocates in that according to one's particular mood and particular need. So there's a very famous chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam that there's hope for us, if there's hope for the Gajendra the elephant, by the Lord's mercy. So it's our endeavor. All we have to do is to endeavor sincerely to follow what the Lord wants us to do in the way of the acharyas, how they're presenting, how we should behave, what activities and what mentality. We should endeavor sincerely like that and pray for the Lord's mercy. So there's those two together, and ultimately it's the Lord's mercy. But one has to show by your activity and by your mentality that you actually want the Lord, because if you don't want Him, then why He should give? So, he wants us to come back. Prabhupada said Krishna wants you to come back more than we want to go back. So this was shown here that Gajendra, that the Lord got down and rushed towards his devotee and rescued him. So all these difficulties in life, we can use it to that advantage. We can remember these stories, and they're all stories like this. Mainly Bhagavatam is like this. Right? The next chapters, or the coming chapters, they're all problems. You see, all these chapters are people having problems generally. This is Gajendra's crisis, then the demigods and the demons, the problem there, and the poison comes, another big problem. It's always problems, and then the Lord appears, and so how to resolve the problems? And so Krishna consciousness is the ultimate solution of all of the problems. And we know that, as Prabhupada said, there's no material solution to material problems. You can try to adjust, but it actually doesn't work, because what we're looking for is a peaceful, happy future. It doesn't exist in the material world. For the spirit soul, it can't be peaceful and happy in matter. The matter doesn't let you be peaceful and happy, because the matter is always changing, and it's temporary, and it's always vibrating in a different frequency than what we are. But we're trying to adjust it, but it doesn't work. So we're learning from all these stories. These are great stories, big stories, not little problems, big problems. So that we learn again and again and again, but that the only successful ones are the ones that actually surrender to Krishna. So that we should learn from them rather than going to the experience ourselves or trying to experiment ourselves, that we can, I can overcome, I can be successful, I can be have a blissful life in material world. That's illusion. So Krishna sends to the agency of Maya. He keeps slapping you. Get back. You can't do it. It's to make us learn. It's to make us wake up. So therefore we should we should accept these reverses. He says, "Thank you, Lord." As Prabhupada explained this verse from the 10th canto, that it's just, you're so kind, I'm suffering a little bit, I should be suffering a lot more. But because you're so kind, you've reduced it now. You just give me a token of what I should have been suffering for my previous sinful activities. And this way go on serving the Lord. He said, then this going back to Godhead, or the kingdom of God, becomes your rightful claim. This is the attitude, to go on patiently, suffering the reactions, understanding that it's just I've caused these difficulties previously. I'm the cause. There's no one else. It's not the Lord, but He's actually so kind. He's reduced them to a little bit, and He's given me the understanding of what's going on. So the knowledge is a very will actually save us, and then that will be when we're peaceful. Then the devotion can develop nicely there. Say Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gajendra Prabhu ki, jai. Crocodile Prabhu ki, jai. Here you go. The practice, that's easy. You're following the line of the acharyas. The Guru will tell us how to act. So the endeavor, you must act. No, because we're in the material world, we believe that we are the doers. We believe we're the body. By intelligence we understand we're the soul, but factually, when we wake up in the morning, we're the body. So in all intents and purposes, we're under the bodily concept of life. Intellectually we understand something else, but still you have to act according to the body. So that you engage in devotional service, which is a recommended activity, which is not, like you say, not a sinful activity, something that's harmful, detrimental to devotional service. So that part's easy, but the consciousness, because we're dovetailing that. Okay, I am the doer, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. They're there. That's our ground zero when we're born in the material world with the false ego. But now we okay, I'll do for Krishna. That's the first platform, like Karma Yoga. I'll do it. I want to do this and I want to get that, but I do it and I'll give that to Krishna. But I'm enjoying doing that, and I'm enjoying all the facility that comes with it. But to do it in a detached way, that takes purification. But even from the very beginning, we're practicing that because we're doing it under direction of Krishna. There's purification there. It's his system. If you can't do this, do this, do this. So whatever level we pick up on that. But in the beginning, it's more or less karma yoga. I'll do this for Krishna, right? I'm the doer, I'm the controller. Okay, I'll do it for Krishna. Krishna. Okay, you do it for me. So we haven't got rid of that identity of the idea of being the controller and the enjoyer. We're concerned with the immediate needs. So that will come from the other part has to come from realization. The detachment that has to come by realization, which comes from knowledge and the practice itself. Two combined, they both have to be there. The instructions, the follow to practice the knowledge, that has to be there. That will bring the prayojana. So then the detachment will automatically come. You can practice detachment, but it will automatically come. It may take some time. You can also practice, but detachment has to come from the heart. It's not coming from the intelligence. So we can, like we practice abstination, or follow four regulative principles, things that are not favorable, but that's coming from the intelligence. Because Krishna says you may restrict your senses from the sense objects, but the desire hasn't gone away. The desire to enjoy it is still there. But by continuing that, then that is purifying, because we're endeavoring to please Krishna by following his instructions. We're not endeavoring to please Krishna per se. We understand the mechanics, but it's still in the heart. It's still me rather than Krishna. I'm the important factor. My happiness is really more important than Krishna's. I'm going to Krishna for my happiness to resolve my problems. So that has to become purified. So the basic, the sadhana bhakti part of it, that's to engage the body and the senses and the mind. But the purification will come from that, because it's Krishna's service. Because our subject matter is Krishna, hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, eating Krishna prasad, associating with Krishna's devotees. That will purify. With that purification, the detachment will come, and the realizations will come. And it'll come as much as you want it to come, and as much as you endeavor for it. Very well. Do you have a mic? Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. My question is, how does helplessness bring humility? And should we endeavor to cultivate helplessness? And if so, how?
Yeah, helplessness definitely breeds. Soldiers have shown themselves to be fallible. Your senses don't work, your friends can't help, time is against you, it's closing in, you're trying to get over it, but the time is there, and you just need a little time to get around it, but no, too late. Defamation, your business collapses, the sickness, whatever comes. So it produces humility will come from that. Should be. I mean, for a practitioner, because we know that humility it's the first principle in knowledge. And Krishna lists all the points out. First is humility. It's very essential. Because it's right true, in prema, the humility is also used. So it's, I mean, for devotees we're talking about, for those in the practice, it says even a pauper is proud of his penny. He has nothing, but he's proud. As one of our brothers was saying, he was in Calcutta, under Howrah Bridge, he was waiting for something, and there was a family there, living under the bridge, and the mother was there with the sari, the same color as the ground, and she got some wood and made a fire, and there was a tarpaulin on the fence. There was a house, and the kids were running about naked, and she was cooking, and the husband comes home from wherever he had been, got something, and he ate something, and he laid back and lit out a cigarette and put his feet up on the curb in the road, and life is not so bad. So it's relative. So even, and then there's always someone worse off than you, so then you feel okay. So that, pride is like the mainstay of the false ego. So you get this pride, that you can be the Lord, you can be successful, you can be on top, you can be special, different, recognized, worship. That is there from the beginning to the end, because the false ego is the first covering of the soul. This is the last thing that goes also. So the second part was? Should you cultivate helplessness? I don't know how you can cultivate helplessness except by knowledge, but the fact is we are helpless. How can you cultivate a fact? I guess it's like trying to cultivate love of God. We already have love of God, but it's covered. So that covering has to go. The impurities, the other designations, they have to go. So this designation of being the Lord of all I survey, I want to be on top, I want to be the controller, that you can work on. His desires to be successful in the material world, that has to go, for your own enjoyment, that is. You can be successful for Krishna, but the living entity has no business in the material world. It's different. The soul has nothing to do with this material world. It's a completely different show. But we're intrinsically linked to it through the element, through the body, the material elements we have as a body, and the consciousness which is completely absorbed in all these material elements. So that connection is very strong. But actually we have nothing to do with it. But that takes realization of purification. So to cultivate helplessness means cultivating knowledge of your actual spiritual position in the material world, that you're actually insignificant, you're actually helpless in the material world as far as manipulating material energy, because we can't. The soul, that can't. Krishna does that. There's 33 crores of demigods doing that. It's not our business, and we can't. But it appears that we can. We can do things. I can move the material energy. I can make sound. I can do so many things. It appears like that, but the actual energy is moved by the devatas. But it appears that I'm moving, so I'm convinced that I am the doer. And then I get a result, and I'm convinced because of my activities I enjoy and suffer, and that's true, also in a sense. But you're not actually the cause of it. It's you're desiring, but all the activities are carried out by invisible forces, demigods. So you're actually helpless in here. But the illusion is the artificial reality, what they call it? Artificial. That the reality is I'm here and it's happening. I'm doing it. That's the illusion. So I have to cultivate knowledge to understand how you're not doing it. You're not the doer. That Krishna says the living entity, bewildered conditioned soul, thinks he's a doer of the activities, while in fact they're carried out by the modes of material nature. So that illusion is I am the doer, and if I am the doer, then I am the controller. And if I can control it, then I can enjoy it. So you can, by cultivating knowledge, then you feel helpless. Which we are. Everyone is dependent on the Lord. He's the Supreme. We're all maintained by Him. And we're all coming from, supported and maintained by Him. But now we've forgotten that, and we think we're our own maintainers, our own doers. So that illusion, but that's how you will develop the feeling of insignificance. So that's good. When you feel insecure in the material world, it's not a good, materially it's not a very good program at all. You'll be, they're teaching you the opposite, right? In the universities or the schools, you pay good money to be taught how you are the doer. Stand up, do it. You can do it. Be successful. It's self. There's so many. That's the false ego. So that's the problem. So nobody wants to be insignificant. Nobody wants to be humble in the material world, because if you're humble, should everyone like that? So it'll come that it should. So we want to develop that humility. Only the devotees, and the Gyanis, the yogis, or the karmis, they don't want to develop humility, pridelessness. Be proud. Be proud of yourself. You can do it. Who wants this? But this is actually knowledge, according to Krishna. This knowledge. Humility is a great asset for knowledge. So that comes automatically if we want it. If we're trying to be humble, we can practice externally. So, but the actual it's realization that you want. But you practice anyway. Cultivate by practice, Prabhupada said. I don't know if he said that exactly the same thing, but the devotee said, Prabhupada, why should I pay my obeisances? Or I don't feel like it. It's not coming from the heart, so what's the use? I'm just mechanically bowing down. There's no feeling there. Prabhupada says, no, you do it anyway. And then later the feeling will come. First you practice. So you can practice like that externally. And wait for the feeling to come. But we should desire that, actually. This is what we actually want, to be dependent on the Lord. That's the negative is to feel insignificant. That's negative, but the positive is actually feel dependent on the Lord. It's a better program. Hare Krishna. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.